like to call this meeting of the Fremont County Planning Commission to order for May 7th, 2024. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In the military, do we salute? Yes, sir. Okay, yeah.
Thank you for that.
50 years, I can't remember.
I will call the roll, and I'll just go from the list I have here, but Dale McCullough is here, Travis Payne is here, Rudolph Mergelman is here, John Carper is here, Gardner Fay is here, Larry Brown is here, and myself, John Hamrick, is here. And with that, I hope you've had a chance to look at the agenda, and is any changes or revisions necessary? Hearing none, I'm open to a motion.
I will make a motion to approve the agenda for May 7th, 2024.
I'll second it.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Aye.
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 Okay. The agenda is approved, and also we have the minutes from our March 5th Planning Commission meeting, and I hope you've had a chance to review those. Any comments or questions or amendments needed? In which case, I'm open for a motion.
I will make a motion, we approve the minutes of the March 5th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, Rudel, you want to start us off?
Yes. Aye.
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 Okay, it looks like we do not have any unfinished business today. We do have, under new business, MS 24-002, the Andiamo minor subdivision, which is requesting approval for a minor subdivision that will create a total of 2 lots. Lot 1 being 4.59 acres, or 2,021 square feet. Lot 2, 4.59 acres, or 199,924 square feet. The subject is located in the Agricultural Rural Zone District at 610 C Street in Penrose. And may we have a staff report?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. So, as John said, we have in front of us minor sub 24-002, Andiamo minor sub. Consultant is Matt Koch. The proposal is for a 2-lot minor subdivision. Both lots will be 4.59 acres in size. And this subject parcel is located in the Agricultural Rural Zone District at 610 C Street in Penrose. Lot number 1 has improvements. It's got a dwelling, a barn, and 2 sheds. It's serviced by all utilities, so everything's in place. And it does have an approved non-conforming status for the dwelling in the barn based off of setbacks. Lot number 2 is vacant. They have supplied a irrevocable water availability contract and a proposed septic. So everything meets in those regards. Lot number 1 will be fronting off of C Street, and lot number 2 will be fronting off of 6th Street. The consultant has requested a contingency, and they would like the stormwater plan and report a contingency item of approval. We have sent this application out for a comment. We received a comment from the county engineer that based on an inspection and a significant amount of soil being moved on lot 2, he does not recommend approval of deferring the drainage plan. And he said the site has undergone development with significant amounts of material moved and material evidently imported from elsewhere, and it is likely that drainage patterns and flows have changed. Prior to the subdivision and required drainage plan and report, prior to the subdivision, the required drainage plan and report should be submitted. And then FCDOT stated that the driveway access permit will be required for lot 2 at time of development. So the Planning and Zoning Department recommends approval, with the drainage plan being a contingency item. And also, depending on the drainage plan that's being proposed, an executed quitclaim deed with a deed restriction addressing the maintenance of the facility if it's goes from one lot to the other. So, and then the other bit would just be the driveway access be applied for and approved at the time of development of Lot 2. Other than that, this one works.
Great. Thank you for that. Let's hear from the applicant.
Good afternoon. About all I can say is ditto. We are planning on putting a detention pond, more likely at the southwest corner of Lot 1. That's what fits with the previous topo that was out there. They have created a building site somewhat in the southeast corner of Lot 2, and we'll need to update the topography for the drainage plan report based on that. Other than that, the site's typically like a typical subdivision in Penrose. It's a two-lot split of what's been platted prior, so.
And so the applicant is fine with providing the drainage plan? Is
Yep.
that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from the commissioners?
I just have one question regarding the county, or the engineer said it looked like there'd been a lot of dirt moved out there. Was that relative to an agricultural leveling process or something like that?
No, this was their intent was to build the building site for the new house.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, they brought in some fill and leveled it off, and then just created this, I don't want to call it an island, but this raised area for the house.
Okay,
So-
all right, thank you.
About right.
Any other comments?
So that pile of material now has been graded out,
The
For a
pile
house?
is still there, actually. I think that's more topsoil, and I think they're going to use that to,
it's hard to tell just how big that is.
Yeah.
Looks like a pretty good amount of material.
and so I think they're going to use that to, clean things up and get things, so they can plant grass and what have you around in there. They're into horses, and so they're going to be using a lot of the open land for horse pasture and different things like that. So they're trying to impact as little as possible, but they did do kind of a big area when they filled this in. Right behind that white area is the leveled off area, right behind that. And it's more like shale, like the typical stone you get out of Penrose. So they built that up, and then they'll use that to cover it and plant seed in.
Any further questions from the commissioners?
Just a clarification. The county engineer basically said he didn't think that the stormwater review should be deferred.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And you're saying that you believe it should be deferred.
No, I'm agreeing with the county engineer that it should not be deferred. It should be a contingency item prior to recording the subdivision.
Okay. Not contingent on anything else. It has to be done next.
Yeah, yep.
Okay. Thank you.
We're going to be done here pretty quick, but so that we're not done too quick.
Don't just come up with questions.
On drainage plans, so if you're going to be building, if you have a development that you want to construct, okay, you have to come into the county planning and zoning and request approval for that activity. And part of the approval process may include a drainage plan. And that drainage plan is as-is conditions, is that correct? Or is it after construction of the development?
So it depends. The way the regulations currently read, were that a drainage plan is required to be done. And what we've navigated over almost the last 2 years, yay, been here a minute now, was that a lot of these minor subdivisions, since they're not proposing development, it's okay to defer the drainage plan until the time of development, because then we actually know what's going in. The one thing that changes not deferring it on this one was the amount of soil that was moved So there has been development of sorts. We may not know the actual square footage of the home or barn or whatever may go on there, but we know that there's been a change in topography, so that's why it's not recommended to be deferred on this one.
And it's not, my questions are not specific to this
Okay,
applicant,
yep.
but more general. But so, let me see if I've got this right. So if you have an undeveloped piece of property and you want to develop it, you may be required to submit a drainage plan based on current conditions.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then, so that when the plan is submitted for approval, then is a subsequent drainage plan required?
Not if one was turned in ahead of time. So if they're doing their drainage plan now, when they come in for their home permit, they're not going to have to modify that drainage plan to account for their home. But, sorry, I keep going back to the specific one ahead of us.
Let me ask the question
And so,
different.
just to be clear, so typically, when we do this and they require the stormwater drainage replan report, there's an assumption made that there will be a 3,000 square foot home built in the future. So they incorporate that into the drainage report so it takes care of a possible future aspect, so increasing the drainage off of that house or that drainage. What we've run into is we don't know exactly where they're going to build on these bigger lots. We don't know the exact size of things, so we ask it to be deferred. But you can make some assumptions so you have a report that takes care of a lot of the future drainage.
Okay.
It just maybe not fit exactly what's built in the future.
I understand that. Where my question is coming from is I believe that our regulations as they currently exist have a requirement that the stormwater flows not be increased above historic flows for the property. Okay, so when is that baseline established? That's the real question. Before development or after development? You see, do you understand my question? So in other words, if you're going to pave the whole property, right, there's going to be a lot of runoff. Obviously, you've got an impervious surface. And so when does the requirement for no increase over historic flows, how do you baseline that? You have to have a drainage report before development to be able to baseline that, correct?
And they incorporate that. So
Yeah.
typically.
That is incorporated, so you're
Right.
doing really two.
Right, so typically the engineer will look at it when God created it.
Yeah.
And then he'll look at it after man gone on it. And he'll give two aspects. This is the number before and this is the number after and this is what we need to detain. And so you'll get those numbers through that report.
And
It
so-
won't take two separate reports throughout the process.
And so what has hung us up is that the first one has to be done no matter what.
Yes, but
first one
we
has
try
to-
to incorporate both into one report so it's taken care of.
I understand.
Yeah.
The first one has to be done no matter what. What's been hanging us up is when the second one is done, and can you incorporate them into one report? And that's really what has kind of hung us up in the past on this issue. Just making sure I understand completely.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all the questions. That's all my general questions. Yes?
There's a drilling report in here, and they drilled some test holes in the southwest corner of these lots, but they had the lots turned the other way at that point in time, so that's just
That was
totally
for-
irrelevant.
Right, that was for the septic. They'll punch
have to
holes necessary
redo
for
it.
the septic. They may have to redo it if it's not in the right area and such.
So
Because, yeah, it does change. They are going to put the septic kind of about where it says Lot 2. On Lot 2 is about where the septic will be now.
It shows sandy loam down to 8 feet. Is it shale below that? Is that what the deal is, or is
More
it
than likely.
bedrock?
Yeah, it's typical Penrose
Okay,
such.
okay.
Okay, any further questions or comments from the commissioners? Then I'm open to a motion.
Make a motion to approve MS 24-002 with the verbiage I'm looking for.
Approve contingency items.
Thank you very much. With contingency items outlined in the staff report.
Second.
I'd second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations and thanks for being here today. And with that, we're adjourned. Yeah, well, should, yeah,
I think Rudolph second first,
he did,
so I'm gonna put, okay,
he did.
because I heard another